So the main thing that we do, or the tagline we use for our research group, is that we work on the human and policy dimensions of environmental and economic change. And in doing that, we really work at the intersection between natural science and social science. My name is Jackie Dawson. I'm the director of the Environment, Society and Policy Research Group, and I'm also the Canada Research Chair in Environment, Society and Policy. And we have an ESPG lab here at the University of Ottawa. We have 2 rooms. We have quite a lot of space where the team of students and myself and other researchers and collaborators can get together and work together while also working on our individual projects. And one of the big things that we do is we work at the interface of natural science and social science. That the only way to solve real-world problems is to be working at that interface. We work on the human and policy dimensions of environmental and economic change. And in doing that, we really work at the intersection between natural science and social science. And instead of focusing on the little itty-bitty questions that happen in what we might call the physical sciences, or the little wee questions that we might call the social sciences, we try to bring all of that together and look at major real-world issues from this big picture perspective, where we consider natural science change, like climate change, and with the social science implications like subsistence hunting or policy around Arctic shipping. So one of our students last year went on a 10-day voyage on an industrial ship that went from Quebec up into the southern Arctic region, and she experienced firsthand what it's like to be on that ship, and what are the challenges of navigating in ice-infested waters, and what are the safety concerns?
I've really enjoyed working in this lab just because of the mix of people who work in it. So we have people doing human geography as well as physical geography, and so having those different perspectives means that you're not coming at an issue from just one side, you're looking at both sides. So I'm not just looking at the physical aspects of sea ice under pressure, but I'm not just also looking at the human aspects. I'm trying to mix those together, and a lot of the students who work here are doing the same thing and bring different perspectives to the table. So in this image, you can see this dark area is the open water, or a lead. So that's area, obviously there's no pressure. I'm using a series of RadarSat images to track pressure ridges, landfast ice, and leads. So pressure ridges is where the ice has been pushed together and creates a ridge, and that's an indication of ice under pressure. Leads are areas of open water, so the ice has been pulled apart, so it's an evidence of it not being under pressure. And landfast ice is just simply ice that's all along the shore, and it remains immobile. In here are these other green shapes. Those are also leads that I've marked, and it's a bit hard to see, but these darker lines, those are the ridges, so that's where the ice is under pressure.
So my name's Roger Ritsema. I'm a master's student here at the ESPG lab, and I'm studying the human dimensions of climate change in Nunavut, Canada. Mostly what it's looking at is mining and resource development in the north and how it's affecting local communities. So I did a case study of Pond Inlet, Nunavut, looking at the Mary River mine, which is opening up this year. Actually, it's just started production. And how the community can take advantage of this opportunity, some of the impacts and benefits, and some of the challenges to the community taking advantage of that. The communities themselves are dealing with a lot of socioeconomic issues pre-existing to the resource boom. So this is really adding some new challenges, of course, some new opportunities as well. So yeah, it's interesting to see in the communities, people are very much see the need for resource development, but they're also very aware of the trade-offs of some of the environmental and other effects, how it might affect traditional activities like hunting and fishing and these sorts of things. So yeah, they're very mindful of the trade-off, but also see a huge opportunity for self-sufficiency and maybe a chance to solve some of the socioeconomic problems as well through this economic development.
My name is Jessica Jaja, and I'm a master's student in human geography within the Environment, Society and Policy Lab here at the University of Ottawa.
If you want to see change, you have to act.
Yeah, so my research took place on the island of Bequia in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And the reason I went there is to look at an adaptation strategy that had already been implemented, which is the first solar-powered desalination plant in the region. And this was done because on the island of Bequia, there's no rivers and no lakes and very, very limited groundwater resources. And so all the communities on the island are reliant on rainwater to collect their water for household purposes. And so I'm interested in understanding how local communities, which are faced with a number of pretty serious climate change impacts, such as sea level rise, ocean acidification, you've got increases in the intensity and frequency of hurricanes, droughts, floods, and there's a huge reduction in the amount of freshwater availability. With climate change and a reduction in rainfall, it's caused serious strains. So in 2010, for example, there were 10 months with not a single drop of rain in a community that's reliant exclusively on rainwater. And so organizations at different levels, at national and international levels, came together and decided to implement a desalination plan. So some of my interests are looking at, okay, why are certain communities adapting to climate change? Are they successfully adapting? And successful according to who? Are they equitable? Are they legitimate in the eyes of community members?
So students travel to the region, and for example, one student last year went to the Grenadines to work on a project with a community who are dealing with a lack of freshwater resources, and climate change is accentuating this. So the question is, how is this community going to adapt in the future as they have less and less fresh water in the region to support their community. So students go and they work with local residents, but they also work with organizations like the Global Environment Facility, the World Bank, or the Caribbean Community Climate Change Center. So one of the advantages of being at the University of Ottawa and being located in Ottawa is we're literally down the street from Parliament. And we're down the street from Transport Canada and Aboriginal Affairs and Northern Development and Environment Canada, etc. So the students that are working in the lab have this significant advantage because we can walk. We can walk down there and we can meet with people who are actually making policies and who are actually using the research that we're creating in ways that help us as a nation and help our country. So it's exciting for students to be involved in something that is real.
So my name's Ali, and I'm in the Masters of Environmental Sustainability program at U Ottawa. It's an interdisciplinary program that merges policy, environmental law, economics, and environmental science together. And I'm working with Jackie Dawson on a project to help create policy for marine mammal regulation in the Arctic. One of the things that really attracted me to coming to Ottawa specifically is I knew that there would be a lot of interaction with policymakers. And in terms of this lab, I think it's really great because we're really set up. We each have our own individual workstations, but we also definitely work as a group and support each other, which is really helpful, especially for me starting my master's program.
So my name is Larissa Pizzolato, and I am doing a Master's of Science in Geography here at the University of Ottawa. And I'm looking at the spatial and temporal variability of Arctic shipping activities and sea ice change in Canada's Arctic. So ESPG provided me with the opportunity to bridge the gap between the physical geography and the atmosphere and the sea ice with an economic component, so the shipping, cargo delivery, and looking at other influences on the maritime environment in Arctic Canada. So being able to link the two and look at a more comprehensive, holistic approach at addressing the complex issues that are occurring in Canada's Arctic was a big draw for me to join ESPG.
We have a bunch of facilities that help support students doing their graduate research and other research that's going on. We have computers, we have tablets, we have modeling equipment, we have videography equipment, video editing equipment, etc. And we also have a 110-inch screen where we use it for video conferencing with people around the world. We focus on 3 themes. First is Arctic shipping, second is Arctic economic development, and third is coastal communities. So our research really touches, although we focus on specific regions like the Canadian Arctic and the Caribbean mostly, we work with people from all over the world. So we're often communicating with people from the Arctic, so the northern tip of Baffin, for example, or even as far south as the southern tip of Argentina and New Zealand. So we're working with people from all over the place. And in the lab allows us that communication, that constant communication. It also allows students to meet people from around the world on a more regular basis.
So if you're interested in climate change and the impacts of that, whether it's in coastal communities or in the Arctic, the ESPG lab is definitely the place to be. I think Jackie Dawson takes a lot of time for her students, and that's something that I really value, and the people here are very charismatic and understanding and willing to work with you. So
we're not just training students. We're not just writing papers. We're trying to solve problems, and we're trying to do it by bringing together all of the key people that need to be in the room, because we can't solve problems on our own. The only way we can solve problems is by making sure everyone's at the table, and I think that's what we do best.
It's a good place to be.